we've been telling you about healthcare all week. Today, I just want to remind you about what these people are really up to. A friend of mine sent a video from VeraSermon.com. We checked out all the sources, and it checks out. Then we added some new things to VeraSermon's great idea. Watch this.
I happen to be a proponent of a single-payer universal health care program. As all of you know, we may not get there immediately, because first we got to take back the White House, and we got to take back the Senate.
So what I've said is, let's set up a system where if you already have health care through your employer and you're happy with it, you don't have to change doctors, you don't have to change plans, nothing changes. If you don't have health care, or you're highly unsatisfied with your health care, then let's give you choices, let's give you an options, including a public plan that you could enroll in and sign up for. That's been my proposal.
I'm a believer in, and certainly the president is a believer in, is that competition often is a very healthy component of any market situation. So in the design of a health insurance exchange, which is really what we're talking about, and what the president discusses, a choice of a variety of options is often critical.
So what I'm arguing for is a system in which both public and private plans are, with their unique strengths and weaknesses, are able to coexist side by side, so that all Americans, not just the elderly or the poor, have access to the distinctive strengths of a public health insurance plan as well as the strengths of private plans.
And next to me was a guy from the insurance company who then argued against the public health insurance option, saying it wouldn't let private insurance compete, that a public option will put the private insurance industry out of business and
Someone once said to me, this is a Trojan horse for single payer. And I said, well, it's not a Trojan horse, right? It's just right there. I'm telling you, we're going to get there. Over time, slowly, but we'll move away from reliance on employment-based health insurance, as we should, but we'll do it in a way that we're not going to frighten people into thinking they're going to lose their private insurance. We're going to give them a choice of public and private insurance when they're in the pool, and we're going to let them keep their private employment-based insurance if their employer continues to provide it.
This is not a principled fight. This is a fight about strategy for getting there, and I believe we will.
As Congress moves forward on health care legislation in the coming weeks, there are going to be different ideas and disagreements about how to achieve this goal, and I welcome all ideas. We've got to have a good debate. What I will not welcome, I will not accept, is endless delay or denial that reform needs to happen.
There is deep deception in our government now. Jim Frog is here. He's the Vice President of the Center for Health Transformation. Jim, I have to tell you, I've looked at presidents before. I've seen different administrations, and I've disagreed with them or agreed with them. And I don't think Americans mind, having a difference of opinion with the president or the government. But we're not being told the truth here. And the things that we're asking to be done don't make any sense whatsoever. We have a president who said this week that, well, no, he's fine with, he can't have the same health insurance because everybody else, because he's got to have doctors. But what about the people on Capitol Hill that make the average of $174,000 a year? Well, what about our congressmen and our senators? What kind of health care do they have?
Well, the people who are members of Congress and their staff have excellent health care. If you're a member of Congress or staff and you're here in Washington, you have at least a dozen private plans to choose from. And if you don't like it, you can change every December. So you can get out of a plan you don't like. The public plan option that's being talked about is nobody will choose to be in it. I think that's the #1 point to get across, which is public plan option is a non-option. No one will opt in it. And it's very telling that members of Congress don't want to be in it themselves.
The plan that they have on Capitol Hill, these are 12 different private organizations. Is there any public, do they have anything like even our service personnel have? Can they choose that?
That's a great question, Glenn. I tell you, for years, a lot of us have been saying that Medicaid should be an option for federal employees so we can see how many of them actually choose it. And I suspect that it'd be pretty close to zero.
Yeah, I have to tell you, I think these guys make $174,000 a year. 174. They have a gas pump in the basement of the Capitol. The average person in America makes $45,000 a year. We don't have gas pumps in our garage. It is an insult. These people they should be forced to live the way the average person lives. And yet, I know you're all over Harry Waxman, and you say he's the king of fraud. Why do you say that?
Well, he's been a congressman for 30 years now, and most of ideas that he has remain from 1965, 1975, and he's had ample opportunity to combat fraud. He's chairman of the key House committee that oversees all healthcare policy. And just this year, there was a report in January that said $32 billion of Medicaid payments were improper in 2007. That's $32 billion in 1 year. He hasn't even held a single hearing on that issue. You'd think people would care about that kind of thing.
Jim, thank you. Keep watching it for us. We'll be back in a second.
Coming up, the American Academy of the head and neck surgery people are disappointed with the president. Join the club.